In response to heated protests, President Trump is threatening to invoke the Insurrection Act. In a social media post this morning, he said he would, quote, stop the professional agitators and insurrectionists from attacking the patriots of ICE who are only trying to do their job, adding it would quickly put an end to the chaos. Here's what House Speaker Mike Johnson had to say about it this morning.
Minnesota is out of control. You have local and state leaders who seem to be encouraging violence and all of this madness, and the president's frustrated about it, and so are we.
So what is the Insurrection Act, and what would invoking it mean for Minnesota? Jessica Hart's been looking into it. Jessica?
Julie, Attorney General Keith Ellison says if it's invoked, his office is ready to challenge that in court. A political expert I talked with says he can't take proactive steps because nothing has happened. And even if it does get invoked, he says his legal options are limited.
A rare federal act has been threatened on Minnesota after protests have erupted over ICE operations.
The Insurrection Act is a pretty powerful piece of legislation.
David Schultz is a political science and law professor at Hamline University.
The president gets to determine what is an insurrection and when to invoke it and when to, let's say, shut it down.
He says the act is meant to be used in extreme situations.
The Insurrection Act was adopted in 1807, and as the name implies, it's supposed to be invoked by the President of the United States in, let us say, real severe situations when the U.S. is, let's say, under attack, or there's an incredibly, let us say, dangerous domestic disturbance or problems.
Schultz says if it's invoked, people would see military in their neighborhoods assisting federal agents.
The Insurrection Act does not give the military the authority to replace local authorities. It doesn't give them the authority to do primary law enforcement activities either. The Insurrection Act does not mean the suspension of the Constitution, does not mean the suspension of basic rights and liberties. That there is no provision in the Constitution that allows for what people call martial law.
That also means habeas corpus isn't suspended under the Insurrection Act, Schultz says. Even though Trump has threatened to invoke it, Schultz says presidents have restrained from invoking it in the past because having the military on streets in a democracy, he says, isn't a good look.
All right. Thank you, Jessica.